Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be creating this. And so that is just basically how we're going to be burning the basics or foundation on lighting, scene and rendering properly. I've been getting a lot of requests on how to render animations on Blender, how to render pictures with the best sequence, and I just decided to jump on this and get this ready. Okay guys, so the first thing I'm going to just do is to delete all. X delete. Okay, then just turn on my screencast so you could see everything I'm working on. Okay, awesome. So the first thing I'm going to do is to create sheet A. I'm going to be creating a monkey, right? So this is just a basic geometry that we're going to be working on. It's really easy to use. So I'm also going to be showing you how to add texture to the object. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is to add a modifier called a subdivision surface, and just come here to the modifier consists, click on add modifier, search, and add a subdivision surface. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the levels to 2 or 3 to smoothen it out properly, and then I'm going to right click and shade smooth. And do that again if I didn't get it right. Okay, I've shaded it smooth. And it's also going to be interesting to know that the opposite of shading smooth is like to shade flat, and you have the geometry back, right? So let's just think that's shade smooth. Okay. Now the next thing I want to add a basic material. To this tutorial, I'm going to keep it as short as possible. So I'm going to add a material, right? So I'm going to come here over to the materials tab, material property. You could add it from here, shading. I want to keep it really simple, so I'm going to come here and to material properties. I'll click on close to add a new tab, then new. Now to effectively see what I'm working on, since I'm on solid view and we not necessarily have a good view of what I'm working on, because obviously you can't see color in the solid view. So I'm going to jump into material preview and I'll come to base color. I'm going to look for image texture. Now in the base color, there's a whole variety of textures you could add. Well, for the purpose of this video, we're just going to use the image texture here. And that's opened up a new tab. Like you can see, our images, our geometry is ready to take an image texture. I'm just going to click on open. Now to do this, kindly ensure that you've gotten a texture ready. You could download the texture from Polyheron. I'm going to leave the description in the video, in the description of this video. So I'm just going to search for texture. I have texture tab here. Okay, I don't like this one. So let me just search for rusty. I have a rusty metal. Yeah, so I'm going to open it up and click on this. Now these are all very good. I got them from Polyheron, which I'm going to leave the description down below. Okay, so I'm just going to click on open. Sometimes it takes a while. Okay, so as you can see, I've added a basic texture on my object. So this is giving it a rusty metal setup. You could add this on any surface. You could add it on a box, on a cube, and it gives you something really nice and simple. Now, of course, you could come here to the shading tab, and you can work on it from here. But I really don't want to do all of that. I'm just going to keep it very simple. Jump back to my layout, and yeah. Now the next thing is just to add lights and then render, right? Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to turn things to my render view. Now, because I don't have any lights on my scene, So it's going to be a bit difficult to um it's going to be difficult to see the end results because the whole composition is still dark. So anytime before you render, kindly ensure your render view or viewport shading or just render view basically. So what we need to do is to add lights to our composition, and yeah, it's really simple. And let's just do that. Okay, so I'm just going to add Shift A to add lights. Now there's various types of lights we could add. We could add points, sun, spot, or area. So I'm just going to be using the area light. You could just always go ahead and explore what these lights are. But for now, I'm just trying to teach the basics of rendering, basically. But we need something to render essentially. So I'm just going to increase the power to roughly 1000 watts, right? And then the size to 3. Of course, you could go. This just depends on you essentially. Um, so the distance of your light also basically reflects on your object. So I'm just going to keep it a bit close. Now you could go crazy with your lights, but I'm just going to have, since essentially this is not a lighting tutorial, it's just for you to get the basic idea. So I'm just going to try and make sure my lights, my area lights hits all the parts of my video. Okay, so I'm just going to duplicate. So you could just start duplicating your lights. I'm going to just rotate this. I'm going to ensure every part of my mesh is properly lit. Okay, then I'll just come here for the front view, Shift D, G, and Y. I'm moving forward. Then I'm going to rotate. So I'm just going to bring this a bit closer. Now there's no exact way to do this, but for just for reference sake, in case you're trying to target your light rays better, you could use Shift T, and yeah, it just targets all of them better. But besides that, it's not a very hard subject to light up this mesh. So Shift D again. I want one more light for the back, and I think I'm basically good. Okay, I like this, but I'm just going to need one more for under because of the slight bend. So okay, so we've created way too many lights in my opinion. Well, I just like to go crazy sometimes with the light to get a proper view of what I'm going to get in. Okay, so this is okay, right? This is okay. So now the next thing, before you render, you need to have a camera. And if you can remember, we've gone ahead to delete all the essentials on our scene at the beginning. So we're just going to add a new camera. So to do this, I'm going to I'll basically select all the camera and all the lights, and I'm going to hide them. Now jump into my solid mode. Okay. Now there's no order to do this. You could do it before, but I prefer this method. So let's just add a camera, Shift A, camera G, Y, and move it on the Y axis, right? Now, typically your 0 is your camera view. So whenever you click 0, it takes you to camera view, but our camera is not properly oriented. So I'm just going to adjust that. And if you'll be following this video, the setup is going to be R Z minus 90, and that takes you to the camera view. So I just basically rotated. You could also as well use this gizmo. It's really helpful. So you could just turn it towards this, and you could see I'm at 90 degrees, minus 90 degrees. So I'm just going to make it complete 90. And when I click on 0, I have my camera view, and this is what I need, right? So the next thing I think I should do, I want to add a basic rotation to this object. And so what I'm basically going to do is I'm just going to click on K to add a keyframe. K to bring out a keyframe for rotation, and I'm going to lock it in. I've inserted the keyframe. So this diamond shaped object here means you've added the keyframe. Okay, so I'm just going to go to 150 here. And so I've done a couple of videos on basic animation, and you should probably check that. I'm going to leave a description down below. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to come to this value right here. You can click on N to toggle this sidebar, and I'm going to make it 3 minus 360 on the Z-axis and click on enter. Then I need to lock in a keyframe so it can animate. So I've done that. Now once I do this, you notice that my object is rotating on 360 degrees on the Z-axis. So this is what we have, and I think it's very good. Yeah, I think it's okay. It's not very complex. So I'm just going to put my end frame at 150 to it ends and at 150, so it doesn't just keep on playing, right? So this looks good. This looks good. Next thing, I'm going to jump back into my viewport shading on my render view. Now remember, it's dark because I hid all the lights, so I'm just going to turn that back on. Or for shortcuts, is Alt H, right? You could just, if you click on hide, sorry, if you just hide all this, you could just use Alt H, turn that back on. Okay, so we have something good here. So let's just click on my camera view. I'll hide this sidebar here, and then I've not gotten a very clear picture of what this will look like. So typically what I love to do is I love clicking on this button here. The overlay button hides everything on the scene and you'll be left with just your mesh, right? So you could just toggle this on and off. Now, the last thing I'm going to do before I render is I'm just going to come to the world and change the color. Now I'm looking for something like the reference I showed you. So I think this looks really cool, right? Come here to the world, come to color and begin to adjust the color as you'd wish, right? I think I love these bright colors. So if I just click on this, I'll have something that looks like this. Okay. Awesome. So it's time for us to render our video. So to get rendered, a couple of things I'm going to tweak. I'll come to the output and ensure these values are correct. 1920 by 1080. This is a standard default size for rendering. And next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come here. I have to select the location in which I want my object to appear. So I think what's best is to create a folder, right? So I will just go ahead, come here, and I'm just going to try and create a folder, new folder, and I'm going to name it render mesh. Okay, so I'll go back to my blender and come here, go to downloads and look for render mesh. Render mesh. I'll double click on it and accept. So essentially I want my video to jump into the folder render mesh. This gave me a lot of tough time when I was learning to render, and it gives a lot of people too. All my students always complain about the difficulty they face while rendering, and it's extremely simple. That's why I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. The next thing is we have our location set, so we need to change the file format. We need to change it to a PNG. Yes, I know we're probably trying to render a video, but we need to make it a PNG first. So a Blender can render all our frames one by one, and then we can match it all together and create a video. So I'm done with outputs. Render setting, of course, ensure to render with Eevee unless you have a GPU. So let me go back to my output and everything looks good. I'm going to come to render and render animation, right? So it might take a while. So what Blender essentially does when you render, it's going to begin rendering it frame by frame. You could see here, we're in frame 2 already, frame 3. So our image is going to keep turning and rendering the image one by one. So image sequence is the best to render at first. So I'm just going to come back once this rendering is done. And it's take a couple of seconds just to get it done, a couple of minutes. So I'm just going to see when this is done. Okay guys, we're back and you could see frame 150 has rendered. That means we've basically completed all the render. So how you could just confirm, right? You could just come here, come to the folder, which is render mesh, click on it, and you would see all the frames from frame 1 to 150 properly rendered. Okay. So next step is to basically go back to your Blender file and come here, come to this tab, this property tab. I want to change it to video sequencer because I want to make, I want to make all those images to be one video. Okay, so it's really simple to do. Once you're here, come to add image sequencer. Now you could just search for the file. I've opened it before, that's why it's opening in mine. So I'm just going to search for render mesh, and I'm going to click on A to select all, right? Add image strip, and you could see from 001 PNG to 150, right? So I want to render this. I'm just going to come here, make it an FMPEG video, click on this, click on render, and of course it's going to be on the same location as before, right? So click on render animation, and then it renders this super fast and clean. And one benefit of doing this is that it's going to render as a video playable on every single format. And okay, it's moving really fast, so I think I can wait it out. So it's already at 80, so 90 before 2 minutes. So this is just the best way. So if you're working on larger images or larger models or larger animation that probably take days to render, it's best to use the PNG sequence just in case maybe your laptop crashes. Okay, I'm done. So if your laptop crashes for any reason, you can know the last frame in which you stop so that you can render. Okay, so if I just come back here, let me go to the file, download. If I search here, and you could see it's called 001 to 150. Obviously I didn't name it better. So if I go to my VLC, let's just do that. Click on this and drag it, and you have this. So guys, this is really easy, and I took our time to make it really easy for any beginner to know how to render their work, because one of the major issues in Blender is rendering. So I just made it very simple. And when you're done with this, you could just come here, go back to your 3D viewports and see your work. So guys, thank you so much for watching. This took longer time than I expected, because however, I'm really happy that you stayed till the end. And the plan was to make it really simple so you could render every single work you have pending on a laptop, any animation, any image, and the same way goes with images, right? So guys, please thank you so much for watching, and kindly like and subscribe to the channel if you can, and I'll see you on the next one. And oh yeah, you could also in the comment section Tell me the next project you want me to work on that will make your life easier as a beginner. Let that blow out. See you in the next one.